All right, today we're back out here, going to be working on the El Camino. We got to get this thing in the air, get the engine oil and filter dropped, get it ready to get changed out. Then we're going to be moving back to the transmission pan, getting it loosened up, everything drained out of it. I had Tony come over and we fired the car up, and we checked the transmission fluid and the transmission fluid in it, and it's blood red. And Tony said it has no signs of being burnt. It smells great. So as you guys know, when you leave cars sit for the winter, and like Tony was explaining to me, you store cars for the winter, all the fluid drains back into the converter. And when I went and picked this thing up from Tony's, and I fired it up, let it warm up for a couple seconds, and I took off. It was early in the morning. I didn't want to disturb his neighbors, being it's open headers. So when I left out of there, I was going from second to high gear. I kind of got into second gear and went into third, and it kind of felt funky. And Tony says, you got to let that fluid get all circulated back through the transmission. So he seems to think that's the issue, because the tranny fluid looks great, doesn't smell burnt. So I guess we're going to go with that. He said to change filter and fluid, and as we're doing that, we're going to be putting that extra 2-quart capacity TCI transmission pan kit that I got down here for it on. So we're going to do that, and if there's a problem, obviously if I drop the pan and find some debris in there, like a lot of clutch material, I'll run it over and I'll show Tony, and we'll go from there. But Tony is still interested in the car. Like I said, he's selling his house in Midland. His deal with Taco Bell fell through at the shop, where they split half the property up at the shop, and Taco Bell was supposed to be building a franchise in there. That fell through. But he said he's still interested in the car after he gets his household in Midland. He gets a few things taken care of. He wants to put this 86 ZZ3 350, which is bored 30 over. Everybody knows it's got a brand new Eagle rotating assembly in it, all balanced. Aluminum E-Street Edelbrock heads. The same cam as what's in Ty's Monty. Nice piece. And he's got a brand new transmission already built, 350 turbo to go with it. He wants me to put all that into the old El Camino here, which you guys can see. I'm actually dusted half the roof off and put some of this, Lucas Speed Wax, the slick mist, because I don't know if something leaked off Tony's roof or what, but we had a spot. Looks like something dripped on the pillar here and ran down. So I'm just waxing that out, getting it ready to go. I gotta finish doing the whole car. I'm gonna do the whole car. That's that Lucas Fast Wax. That's what Dave over at Dave's Collision recommends using, is taking a dust brush, dusting the car off, dusting the car with that stuff, and then wiping it off, and good to go. And she needs it. She's got some dust built up on it, but so that's the plan for the day. We're going to get the car in the air and start getting going on training the engine oil and getting the transmission drained. And obviously, I'm going to put you guys on a time lapse, because I'm not going to be able to hold the phone and do all that nasty, oily stuff. So I'm going to put you guys on the tripod, and we're going to get to work. Well, we're going to have to run over to Tony's shop, and the transmission gasket that came with this kit doesn't line up with the holes on the transmission pan. So, and I got the wife, after she gets out of work, she's going to have to stop at the Dollar Tree or Dollar General and pick me up one of them clear little, probably 4-inch totes. That way I can drain that transmission pan. So we're heading over to Tony's shop right now and get the correct gasket for this pan, and we'll be able to get everything figured out on it. I got the boys Grand Prix here to do my little errand. I'll throw a couple bucks in the fuel tank for them, but we're heading over to the shop. When you drive a truck all the time and you get into somebody's car, it feels like I'm riding right on the ground. But we'll bring you back when we get over to the shop. All right, we just got back from the tranny shop. Turn this radio down. We got the correct gasket. Tony said that he was even surprised that being a TCI pan, or what is it? A TCI, or is it? Yeah, TCI pan, that it would have such a, it was basically just a paper gasket, which didn't fit worth a crap. So he hooked me up with the correct good gasket. So I'm gonna get my Indian head, or we could even use former gasket sealant, or Indian head. I'll probably use this Permatex former gasket. We'll get the gasket glued to the pan. We'll get the two gaskets for the spacer for the filter glued on. That way nothing moves. Only thing I'm worried about, I might have to go to the hardware and pick up some longer bolts. It does come with bolts, as you guys can see here. Down there. It does come with bolts for the pan and for the filter. So we're good there. But I'm worried about my shifting linkage because the pan, the flange, the bolting flange is thicker. So I don't know if these bolts are actually going to be, well, that should be long enough to engage that too. I will have to see once we get underneath there and get everything drained. After the wife gets back, like I said, she's going to stop at the dollar store and pick me up one of them clear little 4-inch tall totes so I can get the transmission drained. We did get the oil all drained out. I got my drain plug sitting here, and it's got some crud on it, which I don't know. It is a magnetic pickup. I think that's, I feel a little something there. But you can see on there, there's pretty nasty. This oil has actually been, it smells like race fuel. I'm trying to wipe my hands off here so I don't get my phone all dogged out. But that oil has been in the car. We didn't run it much the year before because it was at Dave's getting painted, so we didn't do an oil change then. And before it went to Dave's, I think we had 3 runs on it that year. And last season, I never changed it because it only had 3 runs on that oil change, and we ran it. What'd we do? We went to US 131 and raced with Josh and Papatron over there. We went to Ubley a couple 3 times. And we went to Lapeer at the end of the season and raced it. And we have some driving miles around here to the local car meet a 3 times also. But it smelled gassy for me, changing on the jets and getting the tune right on the carburetor there. So it is gassy. I am going to cut that oil filter open and check it, make sure there's no metal shavings in there. But I'm going to pull that pan out from underneath the car and make sure we don't see any glitter on it, and I'll bring you guys right back. All right. We got the drain pan plug put back in the oil pan. We have our Permatex gasket sealer on the pan. I'm letting it tack up a little bit. We'll put that gasket on. We have the filter draining so we can get that cut open. And the oil really don't look, I mean, there's still some viscosity in there. And it ain't as black as I thought. It looks black in the pan, but once you get it on your finger, you can actually see through it still. But it is gas. You can smell race fuel in it. So it was definitely time for an oil change. And when I was over at the tranny shop, Tony gave me this, told me to take it home. He's not going to use this one. Brand new converter. This is the one that I ordered for him when we built that engine, and he got all of his parts. He said, get him a converter. Well, they didn't have the Hughes 3500B converter like it's in Ty's car. So we went with a 3500 Summit brand. And there's the part number in case anybody is interested. It's a 10-inch 3500 converter. So he said that he's not going to use that. He wants a Hughes or a TCI. He said he'll spend the extra money. He told me to take it home. So I might take this and put it into the El Camino if the El Camino stays around. And that 8-inch TCI converter that's worth over $2,000, it's a 8-inch 5500. That might be going in the Blazer. It'll save me some money. So we might be doing a converter swap too. If there's a lot of materials, clutch materials and stuff in that pan, like I said, I'm going to pull the pan and have Tony look at it. And he said it ain't nothing to rebuild these, simple bam bam. So throw a set of clutches in it if it needs to be before it totally destroys the whole trans. Which he said he doubts that's the case, but never know until we get the pan off. But I'm going to put you guys back on the tripod. I'm going to get these gaskets situated on the tranny pan and the gaskets for the adapter. Get everything ready to go. That way when the wife gets here, I can get this trans pan drained and see what it looks like. Alrighty. Well, the wife just got home. She ended up stopping at the Dollar General and picked me up this pan. It actually has little roller wheels on it, which is pretty cool. That's about the size that I wanted. Might be a little extreme, but at least I won't make a mess on my floor. You know, so whenever you're doing transmission pans with no drain plugs, you loosen up 3/4 of the pan, and you leave a couple bolts loose, and then let the pan drop. And even no matter how careful you try and be, it always ends up on the floor. But hopefully with that pan, we can eliminate that. And see on this board, now that oil that I dripped on there with my fingers, it's still see-through. Still got pretty good viscosity, but it does smell like race fuel for me. Tuning on the old carburetor there, trying to get it dialed in right. I am going to let that filter drip dry or finish draining all the way. I am going to cut it open and check the fins. This is the 1-quart filter, which is a 51060 Wix. I always run them on here. But the boy bring me over with his oil change. It wouldn't work on his car because his car takes, with his header situation, it takes the short filters. So this wouldn't work on his setup. So he gave it to me. And leave in the comments, has anybody ever heard of the Wix racing filters? The 51069Rs. It says proven improved horsepower. Whoa. No dry starts, no leak, positive gasket seal, and extreme burst pressure. But you can also see here it says not intended for street use, which, to tell you the truth, I've never even seen one of these filters on the shelf at where we pick up our 2050 brand pen oil, our racing oil, and where I always pick up my Wix filters. So this is something new to me. So if you guys have seen them and have ran them on the street, have you seen any difference? Leave in the comments below if you guys ever used them or what they're all about. I'd really like to know. So But I'm going to put you guys on the tripod. I'm going to climb underneath there, and I'm going to start getting this old transmission pan unbolted, and we'll see what it looks like. Alright, we got the transmission pan off here, and I want to show you guys what's inside here. Have Jenny give you a good look here. I'm going to dump it into that way we can see the bottom. I don't want to get this fluid into my clean fluid. And I got a paint strainer from Tony, but there's the bottom. Which Tony said, you know, even that braking when this trans was new, you're going to get a little bit of stuff, but man, that ain't really all that bad, I don't think. Well, I don't know. I'll probably run it over to Tony and have him look at it. He might be home on lunch. See what he thinks, but we got it off, and I've seen a lot worse than that, to tell you the truth, and for as many hard runs as this has got on it. And for granted, it's a 350 turbo with an 8-inch race converter, 5500, and we do drive it on the street. You know, you're going to have some clutch slippage. But I've took transmission pans off before that was just caked with debris. I don't think that really looks that bad. But looks like they got somebody actually welded the pan up before too. You can see that over there. Mm-hmm. Go on the light here. The fluid in the bucket don't smell burnt, but I mean, a little bit of silicone in there. But just to be safe, I'm going to run it over to Tony's, and I'm going to throw it in the back of the wife's truck.
Ew.
Ugh. What do you mean, ugh?
Stinks. Sorry.
You need to work on your recording. You probably just screwed this whole thing up.
No, I didn't.
But anyway, guys, that's what we're going to do. We're going to run over to Tony, have him look at it, and I'd hate to put it back apart when we could drop 6 bolts and a cross member and yank the dang thing out and get it serviced. New set of clutches, but knowing him, he'll probably say, it's fine, drive it. Like I said, this high gear seemed a little weird, but I haven't drove it in a year, so maybe it was the same. Alrighty, we are going to run over to Tony's. He's going to be home for lunch in about 15 minutes, he said. He said just run it over and he'll look at it. But once again, we got it in the back of the wife's truck, which she's not too happy about. But hey, it's a work truck. All right, we're here. Mr. Martins. Say hello, Tony. Hello. Let me get his expert opinion. And this,
yeah, you got burnt clutches in there.
huh?
You got burnt clutches in there.
Probably forward high.
Yeah. It's burned up, it's got to come out.
Well, there you have it. He's the man. I told you guys I was going to, instead of putting it back together and having that same issue, I thought it felt weird, but all right, I'm going to let him get to his lunch. Oh, well, there you have it, guys. Burnt clutches, high gear clutches. So I told him, I said second gear felt fine. Just when you went to hit it, you know, into high gear, it took longer than usual. Usually it snapped right in, and when you own a car, you know when something's up. I was hoping after I dropped the pan and didn't see a ton of shit in there, but after scraping that bottom and he smelled it, it was definitely the clutch material. He said it needs clutches. So there ain't no sense of burning up the steels and everything. He said pull it, and I could take it over to the shop and use the hoist and pull it, or pull it right there. I said I'll just pull it where I'm at. It's already up in the air. I've done it with hydraulic jacks my whole life. I've never had a lift. So I told him it's already ready to rock and roll, so I might as well just go ahead and get everything ready to go. Leave a couple bolts in it, get everything unhooked, and then call the boy over to help me drop it down. That way it don't crush my skull. But he said get it out and get it over to him, and he'll get her taken care of. Get a set of red line clutches. I guess they make a blue a blue clutch now that withstands more heat and lasts longer than the red lines. So that's what I'm gonna order, is the blue racing clutches, or have him get. He gets a deal on everything through Transmissions. He's got a book that actually had them in it, so I'll have him go ahead and order them. And I got some more venison, which I'll show you when we get back to the house, but I'll bring it back when we get back, and we'll close this video out. All right, as you can see, we made her back to the house here, and obviously we're going to split these videos up. This one's probably pretty long as it is, of me out here dinking around, but it is what it is. I better get this meat and see if she'll we got some more venison. I get killer deals on this stuff. I got 40 more pounds of burger and steak. So 2 big old bags. Oh, she's heavy. Stock the freezer back up. Good lean meat. I had to clean out the top of the freezer and get it put away, but heck yeah. Thank you, Mr. Tony. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna start getting everything ready to go. I'll leave a couple bell housing bolts in it. I'll get the converter all undone, drive shaft out of it, all but 2 of the bell housing bolts, tranny lines, cross member, ready to go, and then I'll have the boy come over and we'll get the jack underneath there and slip it out, but that'll be on the next video. But as usual, guys, I really appreciate everybody for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next video. All right, bye-bye.